right? A lot of the games, we saw a lot of FCS, FBS games. Week 2, we're coming off some the smallest sample size you couldn't ever, one game, right? I think this week, it's the show me week, right? It's before we get into conference play, we got a ton of top 25 matchups this week.
Yeah.
I think there's like 5 matchups that were of 2 top 25 teams, 4 or 5. But yeah, I think fantastic slate. As far as us handicapping, we usually like to look into the smaller leagues, so maybe not, as many of those, right? Obviously not in conference play, so there's not as many of these evenly matched group of 5 games yet. But we do got a ton of top-end talent games and matchups to look forward to today.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was for me. It was a little bit of that, but yeah, I mean, there's still enough on the board, and we have 5 games that we're going to cover today. Basically, how we are breaking it down. We started this last week without Jason. We had him on another day, but we decided to bring him on for the Saturday game. So basically, what we did is we posted 5 games to our Instagram poll audience. For the most part, these were games that Jason liked, I liked, and then some more premier matchups, I would say. So what we're going to do is we're going to present the consensus IG poll results, and then we'll give my personal pick and then Jason's pick. So I think it will be a good way to kind of run through some of these games. And
cool.
Yeah, we'll and then at the end we'll give an opportunity for Jason to give some of his best bets, whether it's in those 5 games or just any. Because I think you might have a few, or might have one that actually is in the 5, but if it isn't, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I do got a couple that I've bet for today that are in our 5, but I got some others I'm happy to share at the end.
Awesome. So let's just start off with the first one here, and that's going to be Indiana. I believe they're at home. Indiana's at home.
Yeah, Memorial Stadium, Bloomington, Indiana.
Indiana, Cincinnati. Yeah. You talk about the show me games. For Indiana, this could potentially be one, even though Cincinnati's a really good opponent. But Indiana, for me, I was a little disappointed in how they played against Iowa. But Iowa, I mean, that defense is, I would say, probably a top 5 defense in college football, but they just got boat raced.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, though, I mean, we've expected them to do what they're doing with Ritter, right? It's no surprise. So I'm going to pull up the exact Betfred lines here. Let's see. I believe it's at 3.5, Jason. Sorry, my screen literally just closed out. This, I think, opened at 2.5. And then, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Cincinnati's been getting pounded, right?
Yeah. You think they're going to pound them, he said?
No, I was saying that the public has been pounding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? This could totally be I was just texting a buddy of mine back home in Boston, and he's asked me what I was on today, and told him this game. He was already liking it, and he's a pretty public better. Good kid, but yeah, I definitely, my antennas go up when I hear like everybody likes the pick that I've been telling, like, all my buddies. Ask me who I like today, and I try to just run through a group of my pals that I send my text to of like, hey, this is what I'm betting today. Good luck, fellas. And yeah, he liked him as well. What I said back to him, what he said, hey, could this be a trap? And I said it very well could, but if it's a trap, I'm going to walk right into the trap because we got the better football team, better quarterback play, better coached program. They're going on the road, but hey, I know Memorial Stadium. They've been able to pack that place, and there's been some great energy around the program in recent years, something that hadn't for a long, long time at Indiana. But hey, it's still Indiana. I don't think Cincinnati's puckering up walking into there today. This team's played in the biggest big games the past couple seasons. They have more to lose as well, being the Group of 5 team. That if they dropped, you'd see a lot of teams in the mix now with like the Nevadas, Coastal Carolina. So you definitely can't lose this one. And I think it's a perfect spot for them to throttle Indiana on the road and get a marquee win over a Big Ten opponent. Yeah,
I agree. I tried to talk myself into picking Indiana, but can't do it. I gotta go with Cincinnati. So
yeah, how do they beat them? How do they beat them? You know, they can't. If they can't stretch the field, they're in trouble. And I don't see them stretching the field with Penix.
That's what I'm totally on board with you. And our Instagram poll results, no surprise, Cincinnati 66%. Maybe I'm surprised it's not a little higher.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Indiana's been a good team past couple seasons, so it's Big Ten
I feel
opponent.
pretty good about our IG audience. I mean, they're a little on the sharper side, so maybe that's why this isn't like a
80%.
But to your point, sometimes I know a lot of these guys. They always just try to be on the opposite side of the public, like 100% of the time. Sometimes that, I mean, you know, Jason, like that's overthink spots like this, right?
Yeah, that's why I say I'm just gonna walk. If it's a trap, I'm walking into the bear trap. No pun intended, as we were watching the Bearcats, but I think we should get this one. I feel very confident about it. I bet it very early in the week. I got it at 3, so I feel better about that. And we'll see how the cards fall today. But stylistically, I don't see a way Indiana gets it done today, unless Cincinnati loses the turnover margin, turnover battle, and they're -3 today, and Indiana's got 3 more possessions, something along those lines, and gets great field position. I mean, so it'd have to be a fluky game. So yeah, I'm riding Cincinnati, and again, if you walk into it, you walk into it.
Totally agree. I think it's one of those spots where you just have to trust what you've seen. And for me, Penix, he's had his opportunities to kind of take that next step, right? And frankly, I just don't think he has and will. And this is a good defense too that Cincinnati has. So.
Very elite defense, elite, one of the better ones in the country. Yeah, and I think when it comes down to his defenses, sorry, my dog barking nice and early here this morning.
The dogs may be barking later today.
I think this offense is so much better than Iowa's. So it's to me, it's how do they stop them? I know Indiana's got a decent defense, but what we saw against Iowa, and it's not apples to apples making the comparison. I think it's a better defense and a better offense and similar defense. So I'm siding with the Bearcats on the road.
Cool. Well, we have consensus there across the board on the first one. Let's hop on into the second game. Very curious your thoughts on this one. UNC taking on Virginia. Let me pull up the numbers here. I think this was at 7.5. Does that sound correct? For North Carolina.
Right around touchdown.
Yeah, I just want to make sure because Saturday morning, I mean, the line moves are crazy, right? Like,
yeah, I'm already locked and loaded. So honestly, I'll have some plays I'll get on today as the market's settled, but I haven't looked yet this morning, man. It's pretty early over here on the West Coast, and I haven't checked them out yet. I'm just riding with what I got for these early games.
Betfred, we have. Oh, it's up to 8 now.
8, yeah. I like that. I like the UVA side.
Yeah. North Carolina is at home. Total's at 66, so you're rocking with the UVA.
Give me the points. Yeah, give me the points. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm actually on board with you. I think UNC pulls this out at home, but Virginia, they've been playing good ball.
Very good ball.
Yeah, and I mean I think it was Illinois, right? They won by
throttled them 45-14, I think, last week.
Yeah.
And we saw Illinois play a good game last night. They actually gave the game away last night on national TV against
Bielema thinking, dude.
And that's a solid Maryland team. Well, you know what, Peters too, man. He's holding the football. He's getting sacked twice in the fourth quarter in the 2-minute. They had a lead, a touchdown lead going into the fourth. That was you know what that is? That is a team who does not know how to win yet organizationally, right? The culture's not built there. It's a new coach. And Illinois has never been that team of consistency in years past. We show some flashes in recent years, but not a top of the line Big Ten team. It's the other end of that. They're a bottom of the barrel Big Ten team who's going through a rebuild again with a new coach here. And until you learn to win those games, it's just going to be a lesson. That was a lesson game for them last night of, we're not there yet as a program. So Yeah, that's all that was. But with that said, the UVA win over them the week before at home, very, very impressive. What I was getting at was that it's a solid Illinois team. Beat Nebraska already, who's not terrible. And yeah, so some credit, well, not some credit, a lot of credit to UVA for the performance they put on last week on both sides of the football. And yeah, I think they carried over, catching over a touchdown at the road to UNC, a team who has not come together like we thought they would. Definitely missing all their weapons. It's going to take some time for them to get adjusted. And while it is a very talented team with Sam Howell, like I said, he lost all his weapons from last year. And we saw how that's turned into this season already. So,
well, what's funny is I've been pretty down on North Carolina even since the first game of the season, right? Like, I bet Virginia Tech.
Me too.
Kind of to your point, like, they had 2 NFL caliber. I mean, they are in the NFL with Carter, is it Williams? Yeah, and then of course, it's Carter, right? Michael Carter, I believe, for the Jets. But yeah, this defense too. That was like their weak spot last year, and it's still, I know that Virginia Tech game they didn't give up a lot of points, but Virginia Tech definitely left a lot of points on the board. And I'm still not sold on that defense. I think Virginia can easily cover this touchdown. And it's no surprise that you're seeing the public kind of have some late action on the home team, the favorite. So, so the Instagram poll audience had 58%. So we are.
What side?
Yeah, it's close.
58.
It's close. I think
58% to what side did they have?
That number though was at 7.5. So
yeah, but who did they take? Who did they shade to? UVA or UNC?
Oh, sorry, North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what I would have assumed. I would have put a nice heavy vig on that if I was gonna make odds on what side that your audience was on. I would have guessed UNC.
All right. Speaking of another one, well, you know what? I'm actually surprised about these poll results just a little bit. And I think you will be too. So this is Penn State, Auburn. This is the whiteout game, which is interesting because they typically do the whiteout games, Jason. It's against Ohio State and someone else, right?
Yeah, definitely they're bigger games, but when an SEC school comes to town, the pride comes out even maybe more so than when it's another Big Ten opponent. So this is a big one.
-5, Penn State.
Yeah. Oh, so this one, let me speak on the line move. What we saw at least at Betfred. We saw it open. We opened it at 7. Quickly moved to 6.5. And then it sat at 6.5, 6, up until. So Thursday night, late hours of Thursday night, we saw it move to 5.5, and then 5.5 has been bouncing at. And I'm sure you're looking at the odds now, what we have it at now, but I think it's 5.5. And that's pretty consensus across the market.
So do you want to guess what the Instagram audience said?
Yeah, I would. Well,
this one's tough.
Now I'm thinking about it just the way you set up the question, and I'm perceiving it. I'm going to guess 60% at Auburn.
So it was literally like almost 50-50.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which I'm a little surprised at because A, the whiteout game, 2, Bo Nix has been pretty terrible on the road throughout his career.
Yeah, yes.
So with those 2 things, I'm like, I think the audience has to lean heavily to Penn State, but it's pretty split. So
I don't think anyone likes Sean Clifford.
I don't know why. I think he's
I don't
serviceable.
He's all right.
So what do you think?
All right, so what I really like is the under here. I locked that in earlier in the week. I think I got at 53. I think it opened at 54. I think I got on at 53. And I think it's sat at 53 cents. I haven't checked moves this morning because I'm already locked in. Obviously, there's a way to position yourself, so I should have an eye on the market, but it's pretty early hours. They still got some time. So, what's that? That's a night game tonight. So, the way I see it going, right, I think Auburn's interior 3, from an offensive line standpoint, have not been strong and weren't supposed to be coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think their run game is absolutely elite. But I think if they're neutralized up front at the line of scrimmage, how good's that run game going to be? I think it's as good as Tank makes it, right? Can he break tackles? Can he make guys miss? I mean, the kid is an absolute stud out of the backfield. What I think schematically they're going to try to do is they're just going to try to bully Penn State, which I do not think is going to work. I think they're going to have to run. They're going to have to throw some wrinkles in. They're going to have to do a lot of QB read stuff with Bo Nix. And that's what that's what leans me to the underside. The side of Auburn being pretty one dimensional. I shouldn't say they are one dimensional, right? Going into this week, I think they have like the highest points per game in the country, like 60 points per game. But I played Alabama State and Akron, so I'm not looking into that too much. And first year everything. I mean, it's a new program under Brian Harsin, who I love, and I think that they're going to have a lot of success in years to come in the SEC. But right now, I think you go up against this Penn State team who's so stingy. We saw how they looked against Wisconsin in week 1. That defense is really serious. And offensively, I don't see them lighting up the scoreboard. So I think it's going to be like a 21-14, 21-17 type ball game. I do not have a lean on the side. I really don't. I think the only thing that happened, and from what I've heard, is there's some guy with a lot of market power, right? The guy who really moves lines.
Yeah.
And he's big on Auburn, and I guess the whole fucking the whole industry, I guess, whole market has followed this guy down from a 7 to a 5 in past days. So. Yeah, that's what I really heard is all it is. It's some guy who's a market mover, and he moved this from 6.5 down to 5, and it's sitting strong at 5. I just like the under.
Yeah, so I wanted to be contrarian with this one because I actually think this is a spot where it makes sense where Auburn could cover this. So I'm gonna go with Auburn. +5. And Jason, just so we have it on record, and it's very clear, you're not saying these 5 you're betting and telling people.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. I mean, I try to be pretty transparent on that end. I did bet this one, and I also did bet Cincinnati. So I have well over a nickel on each of those. So my money's where my mouth's at in those games. I think I have. I'm not sure as we go. I know what the other 3 games are, but off the top of my head, I can't think of it. I don't have the list in front of me. I'm just kind of rolling here. But yeah, those 2 games I definitely I have sizable bets on. But yeah, every game we speak about, by no means do I have a pick. But so far from what we talked about, I have Cincinnati laying 3, and I do have Auburn, Penn State under 53.
Cool. So let's hop on into the next one. This is Byu Arizona State, which is going to be a pretty fun matchup. 2 really good teams. A little late night action starts at 8:15 my time, 7:15 out there in Vegas.
In the desert.
+3.5 BYU, home team. Arizona State, of course, the favorite here. Totals at 50.5. Real quick, before we get to you, looks like the Capwise audience was 55% to BYU, which I kind of like there.
I'm surprised by that, but that's the side I'm on, actually.
Yeah, and I'm on that as well. So let's talk about that. Why you like BYU at 3.5?
All right, so looking at BYU, they played Arizona week 1 out here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. They barely snuck by. They were up a couple scores, but Arizona rallied back. What I took from that game was, one, BYU was seamless after losing their quarterback this past season, a top NFL draft pick, Zach Wilson. I was very impressed with how they were able to control the ball, play mistake-free football, and just take care of business, get a win. The other side of that, I walked away at the Arizona thinking, wow, new head coach, new DC, and Don Brown. I was like, wow, they flew around. They played tough football. Maybe this will be a decent team. The next week, Arizona gets absolutely whopped. So then you kind of think, like, is that win really? Who's this BYU team?
Yeah.
And then BYU goes and plays Utah, Charlie Brewer at the helm of that Utah program, who's a very good quarterback. Utah's a great program, has been for years now. And they did the same thing, mistake-free football, play stingy defense, and they were able to get a win. Look, so I rate them pretty decently. Again, with new quarterback and playing mistake-free football, if you can do that and lean on defense, you're going to win a lot of ball games. You stay positive in the margin, turnover margin. You stay positive there. You want to see plus numbers. They definitely are fitting that bill. They're getting some takeaways. And then on the other end of that, Arizona State have played two very poor opponents. They played Southern Utah and top of my head, I can't remember.
Northern Arizona?
Who'd they play? Arizona State played Southern Utah in week 1, and then last week they played fill me in.
Now too.
I could tell you how the games went once you tell me. Oh man,
I'll pull it up right now. But Jason, I was going to say a lot of the Arizona State hype on this team is just the preseason hype, right?
Yeah. So Jaden Daniels.
This year.
What's that?
Yeah. Oh, it was UNLV, and you
exactly.
Saw
yes. Yeah.
You watched them play against, was it
Eastern Washington? Yeah, I went to the game. Yeah.
They lost.
And I watched this game, dude, last week. That's why it was just killing me. I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah. So what I was getting at was they played two cupcake teams where they scored a lot of points and played good defense, but those are two games that I don't rate either of those teams. Right, Southern Utah out of the Big Sky, I don't rate highly, and then same deal here with UNLV is terrible. And faced injury to their quarterback, right? The kid who came in number 2, who actually is much better option for UNLV. So what I saw in those two games is, right, Jane Daniels still in those two games, Arizona pass offense ranks outside the top 100 in every category against subpar opponents. Against this BYU team, I think they're going to make them run the football. They're going to make them throw the football. They're going to stuff the run. Don't let Daniels beat him with your feet. Beat you with his feet, and make him try to stretch the field and throw the ball around to try to beat you. And if BYU can play mistake-free football again, come out on top of the turnover margin, I don't see how they lose this game catching points. I really don't. I really like this spot for BYU. Maybe we'll see a different BYU team in weeks to come, but I think they're much more battle tested going into this game, and they're much more reliable, surprisingly, despite having a lesser named quarterback here in week 3 in 2021. Don't make mistakes. You win this ball game, BYU.
I want to make 2 points based off what you said. I'm with you. I like BYU. Number one, BYU has been more battle tested. I know Arizona isn't the best team, but that was a neutral site game to start the season, and then Utah. I mean, that's a heated rivalry, right?
Yeah.
They were dogs in that, and they won outright at home. And I think the momentum is just continuing to build. And you have to remember, last year, Zach Wilson wasn't really on a lot of people's radars as, guys who are going to be top tier talent, right? And he kind of made his name for himself. And I heard someone make the comparison to Jaren Hall, and at first people are like, "Oh, you can't compare the two." And I'm like, "Do we remember where Zach Wilson was to start the season?" They're different styles of players, but it is interesting because if we knew how Jaren Hall was going to play in those first few games, I think BYU may have just opened as a ranked team, and they are now. They're 23rd. So I think we have to think about that with Arizona State because they're just getting a lot of that preseason hype, and they really haven't shown anything. And like you said before we got into these games, this is a huge show me game for Arizona State.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's going to come down if they can move the ball through the air. I don't see it happening. So I think it opened at 2.5, and has moved to 3.5. I couldn't believe that move, and I think it's a fantastic spot for us to hit BYU.
Yeah. So looks like we got some consensus across the board there. So let's hop on into the 5th and final game, and then we'll go into some of our best bets for the day after that. And then probably in between those two, we'll plug Betfred and what we got going on there, partnered with you guys. So let's first talk about this last game. I know you'll have some intel on this one. UCLA, Fresno State. Man, UCLA it was a team I was pretty high on headed into the season, and I feel good about some of the early expectations I had for them because they've looked good. But this is a Fresno State team, no pun intended, a dog that's going to be barking because they always are, especially when they face these Pac-12 opponents. I don't have any ATS records in front of me, Jason, but I have to guess. If you ask me, I would say they're close to like 60% against the spread against Pac-12 teams just over the years. I think it's a combination of, it's a limited travel. A lot of these players probably know the guys at UCLA, USC, Stanford, right? Where maybe they didn't get those looks and they ended up at Fresno, which of course isn't a bad thing. Fresno's a great team, but you didn't get into that Power 5 school. So I think there's always that kind of chip on their shoulder when they come into these games. And yeah, I think Fresno State is going to cover this. I have them covering. I just want to pull up the exact line. I believe it was 11.5. Let me just see here.
I think we'll see some 12s if I were to guess right now.
It might jump up to 12. So I just want to make sure I'm giving out the correct line. And that's the beauty of doing these live, because we can in real time say what the line is, versus if we recorded this 2 days ago and someone's listening, and the line's gone. So let me just pull it up. It looks like it's at 10.5.
Yeah, I that's a definite take. I'm on Fresno tonight. That's another one. I mean, I bet most of these games we're talking about here. Fresno State is a team. If you've followed me on any, whether it's pods here or on Twitter or anything, I've been my articles I wrote last year going into the season of Kalen DeBoer's first year.
People thought you went to Fresno State for a minute.
Yeah, people thought I was a Fresno State alum. I'm telling you guys, I don't even have to say it now. The history will speak for itself. What I've been saying for the past 18 months, that this program will rise to the top of the Mountain West. Kalen DeBoer came back from Indiana after having success with Jeff Tedford at Fresno. Gone to a Mountain West championship a couple of years back. DeBoer comes back last year. They have a ton of young talent. And they have a pretty subpar season. It's a short season, but they were minutes away from knocking off Nevada. Then that would have really set up the rest of their season to really get to the Mountain West Championship. After that, the wheels kind of fell off, and kind of the whole momentum. Ronnie Rivers got hurt, and they kind of lost all that momentum. They're rotating between Jay Tainer, the Washington transfer, and a young kid. I forget, he transferred somewhere in the offseason, but this is a real deal program, man. These guys could beat a lot of Power 5 teams, Offense is prolific. Coaching is elite. The offensive line has like 10 guys who have started multiple games at the FBS level. They got a wide receiver in the offseason from Washington, big target. He's about 6'3". Already been feeding him. They got Jalen Cropper out there, Ronnie Rivers in the backfield.
Ronnie Rivers, you've mentioned him a few times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been so in tune with this team, and they went off 25 to win the Mountain West, and now they're the shortest favorite, sitting next there with Nevada now. So yeah, I've been all over this team, just to get on, not to toot my own horn anymore, but I've been on this team. I've been telling you all, and I hope you've been following along, because they've made some money the past few weeks for us covering the spreads. And I think they're going to cover again tonight. You got to give them a lot of credit for that Oregon game, playing them as close as they did. Tied in the fourth quarter. Oregon had to come back and pull away late. Not even pull away, just get the win late. Mm-hmm. And then Oregon goes on the road and beats Ohio State. So this is a team you got to rate. UCLA's looked fantastic, but they played Hawaii's a very poor Mountain West team under Todd Graham now. Rolovich took off, and I think they left them cupboards kind of bare over there, and I don't think Graham's a coach to rebuild the team on the island. So, and I also don't think they have. That's another story. Hawaii tonight, I bet against them. I took San Jose State, but and LSU, I'm not overly impressed with LSU. They lost a quarterback going into the season. Yeah. Again, replaced a lot of talent last year. Wasn't very good last year, and you know what? I think that was more of a name than anything. So UCLA is a good program to hitting their stride, but I think Fresno State, and this many points, up over 10, you got to take them. You got to take Fresno and rely on this Bulldog team. I think they're going to roll them.
So I'm on Fresno State too as well. The Capwise Instagram audience had
UCLA.
67. No surprise.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Give me the points.
The thing with Fresno State that I want to say is, we always talk about buying low on teams, and I still think you're buying low with Fresno State.
You are.
The other side with UCLA, they're coming off that win against LSU, and now they're a 13th ranked team, right?
Yeah.
You're still buying low on Fresno State. I think all the way up to like a +7, right? And it's of course not going to get there. Maybe I could see it maybe getting to 10, but I still feel like at a +10.5, you're still buying low on this team, and this is your last opportunity, because if they cover this game, they're going to be the favorite in a majority of games throughout the rest of the year when they enter conference play. So
their win total is 6, Ben, going into the season.
Yeah. Because after this, they have. Let's see.
I think once they get into Mountain West, so they got a. I actually forget who they have next week, but then once they get in the Mountain West play, they play Wyoming, Hawaii, Nevada. Those are the first couple games they have. I know that.
And then they have, and then it gets tougher. You're facing a Boise State team and then San Jose State, but I think with the next few games with UNLV and Hawaii, I mean, they're going to be laying some points there. So I think this is a great spot. And my angle with this, Jason, I like the first half spread at +6.5. And my reasoning is UCLA coming off a bye. The last game was, of course, LSU. And I think they're going to come out a little sluggish. I really do. I think Fresno State's going to come out and show them that we're not effing around today. Like, we're going to hang with you guys. I know 6.5 seems small, but like you said, once this game gets going, Fresno State's going to surprise some people. So I think 6.5 for me. I'm even looking at let's see here, the first half money line at +240.
I like that more.
Yeah. Might as well, right?
Yeah, I like that. But to be honest, when you bring up the bye, that was actually the one point I was going to make for UCLA. Getting a bye week to plan for this Fresno State offense and playing at home and in the night game, I think does favor UCLA. Huh?
The bye favors?
Yeah, I do. It's the only thing that worries me is how prepared are these guys. But on the other side of that, Fresno just played, I think, Cal Poly, I think it was last week.
Yeah, so how much did they really show?
And, not even just how much they show, but because they did what they showed, I would say they would be looking back at the Oregon game. It's probably what the game they look at. But what I will say about that is Fresno didn't spend much game planning on Cal Poly. They probably did Monday, Tuesday, or half of Monday, Tuesday. They were doing installs already for UCLA 2 weeks ago. So
I have a question for you. So at Northern Colorado, we didn't really break it up by days. It would almost be like you would get 75% of this, like the scout team looks, and then it would be like, all right, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break. And then it's like the last 25% is like the next said game. How did you guys do that?
Well, every day, we played a lot of weekday games, so we try to keep every day considered like the regular week. So a Wednesday after Tuesday game would be a Sunday, right? So that's like how we stayed in tune with like the days of the week of treating them the same, not worrying about what days the reality was.
It's basically to say like we have 3 days before the game
of real practice. Real practice. Then shells, and then a walkthrough, and then game day. But so that's how we did it as far as keeping on track with days. As far as when we'd play, like I remember we played Murray State, and then the next week we were going to Ohio State. We spent like Tuesday's practice, so which is your first day back in full pads for the upcoming week. We would do a period or 2 periods of Ohio State stuff after we got the Murray State stuff down. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, same story. Thursday, then we would just focus on Murray State. And then Sunday, we would honestly not even really watch the 1AA game. We would, as far as we're doing film, we would buzz through it, and then it was all the next bigger opponent.
Yeah.
So, that's how you get ahead.
We always talk about look-ahead spots, and I think people sometimes don't understand why it's a look-ahead. And I think – or maybe they think it's solely just because the team's like, well, we're quote unquote looking ahead to the next opponent, but what a lot of the stuff that goes into that is the actual preparation. And I think that's where it actually affects a team, is how they prepared and how much film they watch versus the look ahead set opponent. So anyways,
yeah, no, you know what, Ben, just I'll make one quick point on that, and just really quickly. Yeah, I think when people see these letdown 1AA games, right, you playing an FCS opponent, how did they only beat them like that? Well, you know what? I bet that week they weren't focused. They were probably looking to the next week's game. They're probably practicing 90% for the next week's game, thinking they just show up and beat you. Yeah. And then that FCS opponent comes out and does something totally different than what you practiced. They punch you in the mouth, you get behind, and then you realize they're not as bad as we thought.
Like, now we're seeing we're seeing some formations that we literally didn't prepare for.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still good football players. So, yeah, I think that's a thing people don't think about. But then on the other end of that, then people start writing off these FBS teams because what they saw against an FCS opponent, then they come out and get the back on track. So,
for sure, yeah,
one of those.
Good to talk about. It's fun to kind of dive deeper into that. So, before we hop on into some of your best bets for the day, let's talk about what we have going on at Betfred. So the promo that we have here at Capwise, partner with Jason over there at Betfred. If you use code Capwise, it is a $50 free bet with just a $10 minimum deposit. And Jason, I just want to be clear, there's not any wild rollovers or anything like that.
There's no rollover, nothing. Yeah. You put in over $10 in your Betfred account, you will get the 50 coming from Capwise. With that said, we do have like welcome wager, right? Free mat, risk-free bet. So if you make your first bet to $500, it's completely risk-free. So we do have stuff like that. So you may want to consider. You got to think about how you want to do it, right? Because you could put in 10 and just take the 50, or you could put in 5 and take advantage of that and still get your 50 as well. So there's a few ways to hit it. And we're completely aware of that. And it's, we're in the wild, wild west of bonusing around in Colorado. So we got to play the game. And there's also some other stuff come from other places where we bonus really well as well. So nice. I would suggest coming in with the Capwise 50. And then, take advantage of that welcome offer. And then from there, we have the best boosts. We do a thing called double take for NFL, where if nobody else does this, right? If you pick the first touchdown scorer in the game and he ends up scoring again later in the game, you get double the payout. You can't really beat that. We're doing dime lines on all NFL games for the rest of the month for the first 4 weeks of NFL football. So there's a ton of reasons to come play with us. We are your local bookmaker to Colorado. We're partners with the Denver Broncos. We have a tent out there this weekend for the game, an activation tent. We'll be at the barbecue fest that they got going on all weekend at the stadium as well, Mile High. So, you'll see us around. You'll also see us at the Rockies. And we do when the guys run out to the field, taking the field by Betfred Sports. And you'll see, we're all over between the Rockies and the Broncos. So you'll see us everywhere. You'll continue to see us more. We're in Saratoga and Blackhawk in the casino there. So as far as our retail book is up in Colorado and Blackhawk. So, man, we're all around. So
great odds too. Competitive.
Yeah, especially with what we run, man, with the boosts. The Betfred Boost is a system, I guess a program I helped launch when I got on board about a year and change ago now. And when we entered the Colorado market, and they take a ton of handle. What we try to do is boost things that we know you guys want to bet. So Colorado, any of you guys teams, try to have the best price in the state on them by 20 cents or so. And we don't give you like a $10 limit like a lot of these books do on these boosts. It's pretty fair. So man, plenty of reason to come play with Betfred, your local bookmaker in Colorado.
Back to the promo, right? Let's say you have a $50 free bet that you use with us. Where are you putting it? Let's get into that.
If I were coming on to Betfred today, if I were to come on to Betfred today, right, and I needed to make, and I was going to make a deposit to get a few free bucks and bet today on college football, my best bet. Well, the better in me would say, let's find a morning game so I can roll over and just keep hammering today. And that would be
sounds like it might be Cincinnati then, right?
It would be Cincinnati this morning. Tonight, I would say my favorite play is San Jose State. I got them at 6.5. They're currently at 7. They're playing now on the road at Hawaii. From what I understand, Hawaii still doesn't have fans. Could be wrong. Doesn't matter if I am wrong about that part because this is a perfect spot for San Jose State before they go on the road to my Western Michigan Broncos in Kalamazoo next week and get on track and make a big statement win for themselves in the Mountain West that, hey, it's not all Nevada and Fresno State. We're still here. It's not all Boise either. We're still here. And this is a real deal program. Very well coached, very good on both sides of the ball, return a ton of production. So, yeah, San Jose State should throttle Hawaii on the island tonight.
I like that. That was one that I was looking at, and yeah, that's the late. That's the Hawaii. That's the late.
I'll give you a couple more if you'd like. I can rattle off a couple.
Give out one real quick.
And yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear your thoughts on this. And of course, be honest if you are against me. I know you will be.
I will. Yeah.
So, first of all, this was a line move, and I've been batting about 95% on my my line moves because I'm not going to lock.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not going to lock something in if I think it's going to move, right? And every once in a while, I'm off maybe it goes up like a point, half point, like late, which I'm okay with. Maybe you lose a little bit of closing line value. It is what it is. But this one I was way off on, and I was a little surprised. I guess I can see why it moved in retrospect, but I locked in and gave out this to the Capwise subscribers at 54.5, and now it's jumped up to 56. It is the under in Iowa, Kent State. So, yes, I know Dustin Crum. Like he's a baller. He can sling the ball around. But Iowa, like I mentioned earlier in this stream, their defense is probably one of the top 5. And also, offensively, they've just really struggled to move the ball. I mean, if you look at their numbers against Iowa State, I think they only averaged around 2 yards per play.
Yeah, but they played pretty well against Indiana, and this ain't either of those teams here on Kent State defense. I'll tell you that. They might have looked good last week against who did they play? I laid the points with them.
Well, no, they had VMI
2 weeks ago.
That was Texas A&M, and Dustin Crum had 70 yards passing.
Yeah. No, but last week they looked great. It was actually funny thinking about it. I covered on some of my tickets, and I missed on the other because I think I got it 19.5, and I think I got more, and I bought again at 22.5 or something. I think. Is that right?
Yeah, because the field goal kicker literally missed 2.
Actually, it was way more points than that, though. But it was way more.
It was like 28.5.
Yeah, it was like 29 to 32, I think it was.
Sounds right.
So my tickets I got in online on my online outs early in the week hit, but then I was off last set. Well, I'm off on the weekends. This is the only work I have to do today, which is awesome because for the first year and change at Betfred, I was weekends I was working, so now I can go enjoy myself living here in Las Vegas and bet some football. I went down to the Cosmopolitan down on the Strip last week. I woke up like 8 all fired up, and I went down there and sat and watched that game. So the number moved from whatever it was. Oh, man, it's pissed me off. I can't remember. You know what, Ben? I'm an idiot. You know what I did? It was a total. I bet the over. It moved from 69.5 to 72. That's what it was. And I hit my 69.5s. It ended on 70. And then I missed on my 72s because I was just being stubborn and I wanted to bet cash at the window and just watch the game and have a few drinks at 9 a.m. So like it's Jen. But regardless, so okay. Sorry, that just all came back to me.
No, it's all good. I mean, that's what happens when there's like a million games on.
Yeah. I'm like, 19 didn't sound right. Wait, neither did 29. Yeah, it was a 69.5 to 72 move. And, so I think, while they did pitch like a shutout last week or whatever it was, or 6 points, whatever they held them to, and they scored a ton of points, it's not going to be that Kent State defense ain't good. They're improved from last year. So what worries me in that total, Ben, is Kent State can't play defense.
Yeah, Iowa just runs the ball up their throats and they score.
Runs down their throats. They score 50 and Kent State gets 21.
Yeah. So here's why I think the line moved that way, looking back at it now, is because Kent State put up, I think, 70 against VMI.
Yeah, 70-0.
Yeah, or no, it was 60. It was 60-10. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It was 70 points total scored.
Yeah, 70 points, but okay, it's VMI, right? Like,
yeah. No
disrespect to the cadets, but if I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at how they played against Texas A&M, I'm going to side, of course, more with a
Texas A&M game.
Yeah, but at the same time, I am a little worried. I think the way the game goes over is if Iowa just runs the ball and Kent State literally just can't stop it, and they just get
there's no answers.
So, but I still like the under. I think this is going to be like a 38. I was going to maybe that could be a little high for 35, but Kent State's going to put up. They're going to.
I think they could score more money.
Yeah.
More money. Yeah, I don't see Kent State stopping them too much.
35-17.
That puts you at 52.
Be under. That would have because Kent State is 22-point underdog, so I guess that would have them covering. I think Kent State can cover the spot, though. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I lean to think it's going to go over, and I don't have an opinion on the side. Although I do love Kent State. I know this program pretty well. Yeah, tough call for me, man.
So
tough to go into Iowa and play, man. Tough ask.
Yeah. Dude, those boys, man, the front seven defensively and then the offensive line. Like, I was looking at some of their stats, and just the side, it's like 6'4", 6'5", 6'5", and then you get the center is like 6'1", but then he's like 320. Like that team has some guys, man, and they're always pumping guys into the league, like Wisconsin is. But yeah, that's a good team, and I mean they're ranked 5th, which is very interesting because I kind of feel like the Big Ten is a little open right now. Like Ohio State.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, you got to give them credit for their wins. Beat Indiana, who's not a bad team, and then beat Iowa State. I think they were ranked 10th and 9th, so you got to get the bump. You got to give it to them. And then you got some top end teams losing early on this year. So
what else do you like? I know you had something else too.
Yeah, so I like the over in the and if you could check what the number is here at Betfred right now, but I bet the over in the Eastern Michigan UMass game. I really like that.
What time is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I was like, Jason might not know this. I feel like it hasn't started yet.
No, it's not an early game. I bet Coastal minus 14. That just started.
We have a few hours, 1:30 Mountain. So.
Yep, and then I did a little. I never do these, but I did a money line parlay with 4 big favorites, and I got it down to minus 110. I did Coastal Carolina against Buffalo. I got Boston College playing Temple with Grosel at quarterback. I did 2 others.
So one out, I'm going to give out real quick.
Toledo. All right, sorry. Toledo, and then there's one more team. I'll look at my phone.
Real quick. Oklahoma, Nebraska over. That is, I think that just started. So.
All right, I'll tell you. I got all my picks here. Coastal Carolina minus 14. All right, so yeah, the parlay I was just referring to, that was minus 110. It actually is less. It's like minus 106. It's Boston College money line over Temple, Coastal Carolina money line over Buffalo, Toledo money line over Colorado State, and Stanford money line over Vanderbilt. And like I said, that's almost like an even money play. I never do those guys, and they're definitely not sharp moves, but those are 4 teams I don't see losing today.
Yeah.
And then I also played the over in Mississippi State Memphis at 64 points, and then I played Ball State plus getting 7 on the road at Wyoming. Those are like my 8 plays today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you could hop back on, it just like cuts off my face with the video.
All right. Well, I'm back now. I wanted to read the plays from my phone.
So the over in the Nebraska Oklahoma game is one I really like, and I think that just started. But you could hop in live. I mean, if you can get in soon enough. I don't like to, just hop into games like that once they start. If you have like 10 minutes worth of film, because things change and there's a reason why there's the number pregame versus live. But Oklahoma's without a few of their secondary players. That receiver from Nebraska, I think, is going to have a big game. The transfer from Montana, I think his name's Torre. So watch out for him today. I think that game just started. But any last words? Games are kicking off, so people are.
No, man. Let's have a great weekend. I think I gave out every play that I'm betting today. So
nice.
Hopefully took some notes and we win some money today.
Yeah.
And then obviously we covered a good 5. So
for sure. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty solid day of college football. We got some really good matchups and even late night games too, which I love, right? Good matchups late at night. So I'm excited to watch those. And guys, if you have any questions on, Betfred and that promo, please reach out to me. I mean, it's a $50 free bet. And of course you're going to be betting today. So take advantage. And then someone just said, since he's a trap, don't fall for it.
I already said it, man. I walk right into the bear trap.
Into it. So
we'll walk right into it.
I think that just kicked off too. So we'll call it there. And best of luck.
All right, guys. Let's go. Let's have a good weekend. And hit Betfred Sports. Go get those promos and take advantage of everything we got to offer and support Ben and Nick.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
All right, guys. Thanks.